Hi, this is the first installment of a video that I'm plethorically talking about. See, I just don't get this like whole opportunistic type of like mentality of basically to do with like everybody else. But what I contradict is like, yeah, I made a video about something or other, and I was like, well, I substantially don't think I'm involved in like reality like this. Do you think? I mean, it's supposed to make sense or something, but it literally just doesn't. I've never been like what other than just like completely like pushed aside or some shit. My opinions straight matter to me. I think I count up my blessings in my opinions some kind of somehow, and I don't think I just like run off the fucking mentality of like anything other than like somebody is meticulously like very detail oriented, but not anything like that I would regard as like what I could specifically remember is like, well, if you were so inclined or something, I don't think it really works like that. But, like the whole like actuality of it is like, I don't necessarily get that, typically schizophrenia is probably the actual person's freaking medical diagnosis it is, and it's been for a long time. I think the person quite clearly probably either just thinks there's like an article of 31 as the excuse, right? And that's not good enough to me. Like, just some like complete decorative person with no like subliminal freaking to do with or anything like that. It doesn't make sense that somebody is like errative. Like, they don't get it. Like, they're just aired out. Like, they completely fucking they don't regard that I'm not into like Chinese people or something or other like that, I don't know what to really say about it. Like, I don't have an affiliative, which is like basically enough to substantially do anything at all. Like, that's all I could tell you. Like, it's just probably just not gonna freaking work. Do you think? Nothing like dramatic at all. Like, somebody being diabolically like pissed at me and then ascertainably just like wrapping back around or something and being like, what? Like, I don't get that. Like, if you're pissed at somebody and you like created them as like a real militant as like an enemy and you substantially freaking major police reports and shit is what I consider to fucking theoretically literally get about that. Behind all this to do with like an Article 31 situation, I think they made like a really bad police report, if I could configure. And this bad police report like screwed up my whole entire life, I think. And like, I really realized what could potentially happen. And it's not just like a 9/11. It's like there is no 9/11. Like, there's nothing left behind. There's nothing to explain basically what could go on. Like, you could be completely freaking just maniacally killed. That's what I got. Like, you could be somebody that is supposed to be understanding, to say the least, and if you're not, you could be like even more eventuative. It was regarded as a curse or something back in the day, I guess. Like, someone was like that hatredly angry, that pissed off, that not wanting to talk to me and back on the, like, why would they freaking force themselves into reality as it is? Because I heard that could have been a complete conspiracy. Like, I'd never freaking been around other than probably as it is. I think what they like tried to tell me was your location was nowhere near the state of California. You were nowhere near the state of California at all. You weren't talking to anybody. You didn't say anything. And they came up with like a reason to mentally let me go or something, because I think they didn't quite literally like add it up as the mystery it might be. It's just a complete Socrative mystery. Like, this person has no like sense that they're making out of anything at all, and not with me. So what I get out of that is I could just be the first person in the way, do you think? Or what could be going on? Like, I really have a real big question about this. Like, this person got up on like national television and stuff like that and was telling people that she was like molested or some shit. And quite literally, I think that was never true. I think like I regarded to make kind of a joke about it was like this person molested me is what it is, and nobody really cared about me is probably what this all comes out as. Like that's the mystery, is that nobody cared. They never did care, and that's long standing or however out there in the universe you could get with it. Nobody literally ever cared about me. They all acted eventuative or something or other, like in the past. I would just say, like specifically speaking about that, like in the past of past and the remark to do with something or other like that, they probably chummed out or whatever it is. Do you think like they had their own version of like a chummy, like not coming around ever again? That's like how they laid it down in the pathetic toll that it is, I guess, really. Now, if I'm in a lot of trouble, well, that's how I kind of feel right now. Like I'm in a trouble type of situation. And nobody probably wants to be in the situation or the position I'm in right now. I'm just saying, in that specific bracketive, I don't think I'm going to do much with it. I think I'm just going to let it alone because the mystery is capably not unsolvable, I think. It's that a person, regardless, is not substantially respectful, and she's got a real bad attitude, and she's making everybody do like crazy bunch of nonsense just to purportedly do nothing at all entirely with a person as it is. Do you think? I'm just regarding like she can't be positively in my vicinity. Like she's not here, like on the up and up with me. She's not literally probably here, do you think? But she's still potentially that regardedly somehow positively, do you think, around somehow or some kind of something to do with that. So with that doesn't make no sense to me, like why somebody would be trying to get at me like that, because I don't necessarily do that kind of thing. I consider to maybe like approach a situation like a normal adult like kind of person about it. And if the person has never been anything other than claiming to be molested or raped by somebody and can't do pathetically anything other than talk about something like that substantially, which isn't true, full-heartedly, I believe it's not true. I don't believe I ever did, because I don't think I would put, as it is, any of my children in the mix to do with something like that. I don't think I freaking go to that kind of degree. I've never intermixed with these types of like Asiatic type of like roundatives or anything to do with that. I think it was at Dune 2000, which was a potential problem. And the actual responsible like for all this drama is just a stupid ass video game. The secondary dude in that would be that there's something like a game sharker. Now, like, who's really responsible? It could be that Tony in the state of California or wherever he might have been or is necessarily. Like, he's potentially like selling these people cheat codes or something, thinking that he's the only person or the first person in reality to use like a game shark, and that's like him probably trying to use a game shark upon a person and completely diabolically just make it like horrible like upon a person just for the fact that he would get away with being able to use like a game shark. So like the whole world and the universe is like breaking or having cataclysmic problems and issues, and technical non-detail is it substantially standing up as because somebody was infiltratively like able to use a game shark some kind of somehow in the vicinity of a person, and that's not right in my opinion. It doesn't need to go like that. It should be like not nearly in any kind of way would I ever freaking like put somebody in a position to be like completely like confuzzled or some shit. Like that's not fair in my opinion. I think somebody has to make some sense out of some things, and if they don't, well, they could be considerably, like. But in my specific instance, I'm pretty educated, and that is supposed to back me up upon anything. But what you get out of that is like, nah. Like, I have a space program to commit to. I have all these things, which is responsibility, and I can't just set any of that aside based upon the premises is, like, I consider the whole aspect is pretty blatantly not up to the standard of maybe the law enforcement as it is. I thought that's completely sad and sadistic. It's that they're childish and they can't necessarily handle up on a situation is what I got out of that. You know, I wasn't like trying to uninquisitively not basically interest a person or something. I wasn't doing anything outside of just like the normal blatant that it is. I can't have a potential like relationship or something to do with a person. Yeah. 1 second. So, okay, and all I'm saying is like I have like a dire situation. I have this last place that I belong or something. And after this, there's really nowhere to go. I can't go to any US state from now on. Like, all this stuff added up is a really dangerous, really bad criminal record, which is a life sentence that I'm facing. This is on the topic of the actuality. If I even get stopped by any of these cops or whatever it is, like, I could potentially have even the aromatic of any kind of fucking round or something or other. On the next street or however that goes, I could be arrested, basically, and thrown in prison for life. So I've been minding my P's and Q's as best I can, I think. I think quite literally I've been minding like my non-errors, my best P's and Q's about whatever. And if I've done nothing wrong, which is all I've been substantially standing on, I was just like, you know, this, and this doesn't fucking work. It doesn't make sense to sit there, you know, this and that. And I'm just like, well, there's no real opportunity out of any of it to really even speak about because I considered this person that was doing what they were doing had like various sedative boyfriends and stuff. But see, try and take a look at something if you can, like through the videos and the depictives, like if you can track it down, you can literally see how she substantially came out or some kind of something or other. And that's clearly, I don't think I'm interested in a situation to do with somebody like that. I'm just being honest. That's the blatant downright bottomness of it. Like, she really can't even clean up ever, you know? Like, so she's a basic, or if she's a basical pedophile is what I'm insinuating. Like, I can't get much out of that because I'm not like that. I don't know what she's trying to do, like, force me into a freaking, you know, what, like, nothing, I don't think. There's really nothing she could do to get me to go along with something or other, I don't think. You know, on a different day, or I don't know. Like, I don't know how she thinks she's trying to get at me because there's been so much time. There's a whole past of everything to do with everything. And what I'm waiting for is maybe a better universe or an aspect of the universe completely and entirely. So what you would think is like, what or how does any of this like air up or something or other? And it's like, well, substantially comes down to just the fact that like I have to mind my P's and Q's maybe to do with like trying to get onto a better universe, because I don't want to sit here and have to fight with like people like Jesus Christ and God about like sadistical, like how they fucking ran off this and that, you know, like that stuff's so majorly like over with or something or other. Like these people really, like these people never like added up to a substantial amount of any kind of caricature about so much as anything I might have regarded. And just to back up, well, yeah, there's a nice potential, you know, but I think maybe the universe is like falling away, you know, eventually, and I could just get onto a better universe. I might be chosen out of this entire universe just to necessarily get on with a better life or something substantially, because I might have earned that and might be the only person like to contribute to a universe outside of just this universe somehow. And that's how I know that I'm not valueless, I don't think, but I'm definitely on the considerably like list, I think, to do with like people, because selective service is just the example. Like these people have me on some kind of list that they think they can just toss me to the fuck out or some kind of something, like, which is not fair to me. If I'm a king, and just to substantiate in this universe alone, like you don't necessarily get to do that to a king, I might say about that something or other. Like a king is a king or something. Yeah, and they don't potentially do that to even princes and like all these people, you know, they get in and they force their way into like the, you know, the door wide or the aspect of having something more than they ought to, and that stuff is not convenient for a guy like me. like completely and entirely on my own. And if I freaking manage to get this some kind of small situation to myself, that's what I'm trying to maybe hold on to, like just a roof over my head, do you think? I could be out there quite literally like any of these homeless bums, which I have been for a long time. I've been on the streets for more than like 10 years. This is the problems that he kind of took on, do you think? But really, I think it's really back on him as some kind of aspect. Because if you have to look at the details, why is he not keeping this apartment completely secure? You know what I mean? And like hiring up or doing whatever he's got to do to make sure I'm not twacking based upon or because some of these supposed persons or delinquentives, like he should know much more than, but specifically, he ought to have that person under control, specific of what I'm talking about. Like, I don't think he clearly freaking cares. He's indecent enough, or he's like just cheating. Because I can just talk about, well, this marriage, that's all he thought it was or something, and he just cheated it up. And see, that's something like this universe would allow, is what I think. And it's confined as like a square box or an opportunity, thus thereof of some kind of substantiative something or other. Like, you either do or don't do mathematics, maybe, as a calculative to do with something or other like that. So I'm just saying, like, if Jesus Christ is any kind of man or whatever about, without that part, if he's any kind of man about some things in particular, something or other, I just wanted to lay down, well, he could be the type of person that might be watching everything going on, do you think? And if somebody's sitting there watching everything going on, just like him as a matter, or God himself, like, what's the alternative or the problem with basically working out some of these problems for a guy? Because I am just a human in context thus thereof, and I can't necessarily do so much or many of things other than like mathematicalize certain aspects, which is like as simple as a human might have gotten in the past, but nowadays it's like, well, I was at all these places, I was fighting for so long, I literally fought for the mathematics. That's what I could lay down. I fought. I mean, I literally freaking fought so that the mathematics would not be degeneratively not able to be done, is what I might get out of that. But see, it's not as simple as you might regard. It's like, yeah, undermining the fact that mathematics do exist and stuff like that. But then this person never chose basically anything other than a problem to do with. Like trying to break in, hack, do all sorts of like really logistical type of stuff and freaking undermine me completely. And that's like destructive purposed. Like she only had the purpose of being destructive is what I thought. Honest to God. End of video.